Here are the 3 keynotes for the speech 5. Dream beyond the hills in an educational, motivational book style. Sunrise over mountains keynotes. 1. The horizon is not the limit, it's the beginning. Every obstacle we see is only a fraction of reality. What limits us is not the hill before us, but the belief that nothing exists beyond it. True growth begins when we learn to trust what we cannot yet see. 2. Preparation turns invisible dreams into reachable paths. Dreaming beyond the hills requires learning, discipline, and skills. The dreamer who prepares is the one who reaches the unseen world. Education and effort create bridges to the places our eyes cannot reach. 3. Courage moves you from today's valley to tomorrow's peak. No journey beyond the hills is comfortable. It demands courage to step, resilience to continue, and wisdom to rest, but never quit. Greatness is shaped by those who walk even when the path is uncertain. Sunrise over mountains speech, dream beyond the hills. There comes a moment in every person's life when the world in front of them feels small, familiar, and predictable. A moment when the hills around them seem to define the edges of possibility. Yet the truth is simple, what you see is not all that exists. Beyond every hill lies another land, another chance, another chapter waiting for the one brave enough to go looking for it. Dreaming beyond the hills begins with shifting your mindset. Many people spend their whole lives believing the boundary they see is the boundary of their future. But the horizon is not a wall, it is an invitation. It calls those who dare to imagine something greater than their surroundings. The real journey starts the moment you stop asking, "Can I?" and begin asking, "What if I try?" But dreaming alone is never enough. Vision without preparation is like standing at the foot of a mountain with no map, no compass, and no strength. Education becomes your guide. Skills become your tools. Discipline becomes your fuel. The more you learn, the further. Here is Keynote 1 expanded up to 500 words in the same motivational book, educational style. Sunrise over mountains expanded Keynote 1, 500 words. The horizon is not the limit, it's the beginning. Every person is surrounded by a horizon, an invisible line that seems to mark where the world ends. For some, it is shaped by environment, for others by circumstances, and for many by fear. But the truth remains, the horizon is not a boundary, it is the beginning of discovery. What you can see is only a slice of what exists, the rest is waiting for your courage, your curiosity, and your willingness to explore. Most people limit themselves not because life has placed unbreakable barriers in front of them, but because their thinking never extends beyond what their eyes can observe. They believe that the visible world defines all opportunities available to them. This mindset is the first hill, an internal one, that stops people from exploring what lies beyond. The moment you start to challenge this mental boundary is the moment you begin to grow. The world has always been shaped by individuals who refused to accept the horizon as the end. Explorers, scientists, innovators, and leaders were driven by a simple belief: there is more beyond what I see. This belief is not fantasy, it is a powerful educational principle. It teaches us to question, to learn, and to explore ideas that seem out of reach. Great discoveries were found not by those who stayed where they were, but by those who wondered what existed beyond the familiar. In education, this mindset becomes even more essential. When you study, you are not simply memorizing information, you are stretching your horizon. Every new concept learned, every skill practiced, every challenge solved expands the world you understand. Knowledge allows you to see possibilities that were invisible before. Here is Keynote 2 expanded up to 400 words in the same motivational book, educational style. Sunrise over mountains expanded Keynote 2, 400 words. Preparation turns invisible dreams into reachable paths. Dreaming beyond the hills is a beautiful idea, but dreams remain distant unless they are supported by preparation. A dream that lives only in the mind is like a destination without a map. You may know where you want to go, but without the right skills, knowledge, and direction, every step will feel uncertain. Preparation transforms what is invisible into something reachable. It turns hope into a plan, and a plan into progress. Many people think dreaming big is enough, but the world rewards those who combine imagination with effort. The moment you decide to prepare, truly prepare, you become different from the crowd. You begin to build a foundation strong enough to carry the weight of your goals. Education becomes your first tool in this process. Whether it comes from books, teachers, practical experience, or self-learning, education gives shape to the dreams that once felt impossible. Think of preparation as the bridge between where you are and where you wish to be. Without this bridge, you stand on one side of the valley, looking at the hills beyond with longing but no way to cross. When you study, practice, train, and refine your skills, you are building that bridge piece by piece. Every hour spent learning, every challenge you solve, every concept you master becomes a step forward on that bridge. Preparation does more than teach you skills, it builds confidence. When you know you have trained, when you know you have learned, when you know you have worked honestly, the fear of failure becomes weaker. Prepared individuals walk with a different kind of certainty. They do not depend on luck, they depend on the strength they have built through consistent effort. Here is Keynote 3 expanded up to 300 words in the same motivational book, educational style. Sunrise over Mountains expanded Keynote 3, 300 words. Courage moves you from today's valley to tomorrow's peak. Every journey beyond the hills begins with a single emotion, courage. Not perfection, not certainty, just courage. The path from the valley you stand in today to the peak you dream of tomorrow is built on brave steps taken even when the future feels unclear. Courage is the fuel that turns hesitation into motion and dreams into progress. Courage does not mean the absence of fear. It means choosing to move despite fear. Every great achievement in history, every invention, every breakthrough, every transformation began with someone who felt doubt yet still took the next step. This is the lesson courage teaches us: you do not need to see the entire path to begin walking. You only need to trust your ability to handle the next step. The journey beyond the hills will not always be easy. There will be days when the path feels steep, the wind feels strong, and your strength feels small. But progress is not measured by how fast you climb, it is measured by how consistently you refuse to stop. With courage, even slow steps move you forward. Without courage, even the strongest person stays in the same place. Courage is also a form of wisdom. It reminds you that failure is not an enemy but a teacher. Every mistake strengthens your understanding. Every setback builds resilience. Every challenge prepares you for something greater. People who rise are not the ones who avoid difficulty, they are the ones who face difficulty with an open heart and an unbreakable spirit. Remember, the valley is comfortable, but comfort never creates greatness. The peak is challenging, but challenge creates transformation. Your future awaits beyond the hills, and courage is the companion that will take you there. Here is the ending of the speech, written in the same motivational book, educational tone. Sunrise over mountains. Ending of the speech, dream beyond the hills. As you stand at this point in your journey, remember that life will always present two choices: remain where you are, or rise toward where you can be. The hills before you are not barriers placed to stop you, they are invitations designed to elevate you. Every dream you carry, every goal you imagine, every possibility you feel in your heart is calling you to move beyond what is familiar. Do not fear the distance. Do not fear the climb. Fear only the regret of never trying. For the world beyond the hills is not reserved for the strongest or the luckiest, it is reserved for the ones who dare, the ones who prepare, and the ones who persist. Let your mind stretch beyond the horizon. Let your discipline strengthen your path. And let your courage lead the way when the road becomes uncertain. Because your life is not meant to be lived in the valley of limitations. It is meant to rise, to grow, to discover the extraordinary that lies beyond your current view. One day, you will look back and realize that the moment everything changed was not when you reached the top, but when you decided to take the first step. And that single decision, made with faith, preparation, and courage, will take you farther than you ever imagined.